We often search for healing outside ourselves, but the truth is our body carries the wisdom and the power to guide us back into alignment. My guest today has devoted her path to helping people remember that.
Midlife butterfly, a woman in the sacred in between. She's not who she once was and not quite who she's becoming yet. She's unraveling, awakening, remembering. She's navigating life transitions, divorce, loss, reinvention, moves, with a burning desire for freedom, joy, and soul-led living. She feels the pull to rise, to fly. She is no longer afraid of her own wings.
Welcome back to the Midlife Butterfly podcast. I am your host, Ken Asiu, and today I have the pleasure to welcome Dr. Anette Betancor. She is a former holistic dentist and biochemist. For over a decade, she led a successful dental practice in Miami until she transitioned into her true calling, guiding people to regulate their nervous system and free emotional blocks through movement, breath, and facial release through psychosomatic and craniosacral therapy. She created Sonrisas del Alma, aka Smiles from Within, a method that integrates science, body, and consciousness to restore vitality, clarity, and presence. She also developed a conscious movement system called Stretch Danza, a practice of spiral and non-linear stretches that liberates trauma and in deep fascia tensions and reconnect us to our authentic flow. Today, she mentors conscious women, men, and entrepreneurs who want to align their inner smile, design their lives and projects with clarity and joy, and live with freedom in divine connection. For her, true medicine begins within and ends with the soul smiling. I am so happy to have you here, Annette. I mean, your journey is so powerful and an example of alignment and reinvention. So,
thank you for having me, for inviting me, and truly smiling from within, because this is what makes me wake up every day, really touching people's hearts and reminding them that there's an inner smile in their bodies waiting to be aligned beyond their actual teeth, right? There's a space that we could actually tap into. And when the body smiles, the mind could reinvent, and then the emotions could guide us. Otherwise, it's very difficult to do life.
wow, you're so true. Oh, we gotta dive into that. That's for sure. So I would like to know what is it that it guide you to actually move from your successful dental practice that you were doing to then this soul's calling that it was kind of like, come here, come here.
It's like everything in life. It's a stepping stone at a time. And I went to school and I graduated, and I remember I never went to one of my graduations, not biochemistry, not dentistry. I just got the title and moved on. And I kind of knew that it was because I wasn't too passionate. I was just doing it because you have to study. I'm an immigrant Cuban in America. You have to go to school. My parents are all doctors, so it was something that it was expected of me. And I did it with my eyes closed. But it wasn't until I opened my office, my practice, within months, I was like, what am I doing? I'm a doctor. I have a house. I have an office. Now I have to build it. I have to build it. And I started noticing in my patients that no matter how many beautiful smiles I would design for them and how healthy their teeth would become to be, they were really, truly not smiling from within. It was still an opacity to the way they were leading their lives or the ways they would just establish conversations. And I had this touch that I would always make them really smile or play. And I started noticing, wow, they are opaque. But then where am I opaque myself? Where is this showing me where I'm not truly happy about what I'm doing? So I started doing all this inner work. You can see all the books I have in the back. God, the universe started like really whispering in my ear. And I decided in one conversation deep with God one day, I was like, you know what? I opened this office, but I'm only going to work 3 days a week, Mondays through Wednesdays. And we're going to do it together. Because from Thursdays to Sundays, I'm going to dedicate my life to opening up my heart, to really inviting you in my body, to stretch, to dance, to read, to meditate, to cry, to do all the work I need to do to start really creating the life I choose. And then it started to happen. 9 years later in the office is that I was able to really break free from the titles, from the expectations of my parents, from expectations from my clients, my patients, and my team, because they all loved me. They loved my touch. I would put them to sleep in the chair. I didn't know what I was doing, but I have this very soothing touch to the nervous system. So obviously I was in golden handcuffs, feeling that I was in a prison that gave me money and status. But it was really the grace of God and my true inner work daily that gave me the power to really say, I'm the dentist of inner smiles. I create smiles from within. There's many dentists that could do the outer teeth, and that's great. But I have a calling. And it was, a decision that takes radical deciding to make, beautiful transitions. And this is me 2.5 years later from selling the office, building from scratch, because now I have to build a whole new business from scratch. And it's beautiful because it feels light. I used to just go to work crying in the car, but knowing you got to think greater than your feelings. You got to think greater than your feelings. Your emotions are just, a memory of the past. I would go to conferences, I would travel, I would meditate, and I would practice everything that I would learn so that I could walk away from that reality without hating that reality. Because if you're hating where you are, you cannot create the next. So I had to fall in love with what I was doing. And patients would tell me, oh, doctor, you love what you do. You're so good at it. You were born to be a dentist. And inside I was like, that's not true. But I made my body believe it.
Yes.
And that's the trick. You have to find happiness where you are if you want to create the next.
Oh, I love that. You need to find happiness where you are. That's so true. Because the thing is, we're always in transition to something different, right? And I think, yes, you said it's very important to really find at least or neutral, not to hate it and not to have to love it either. No, you have to be pushed to love it, but at least having that neutrality on saying, okay, I want to accept where I am now, but at the same time, what you did, you were walking the path to where you wanted to be, and is where you are at this moment.
And you know what? In practicing that which you're learning to be able for your body to metabolize the information and not just stay in the mind, but really make it into a habitual way of feeling and thinking from your body. I remember that every book that I would read, I would come into the office and I would teach it to my assistant, to my manager, to my treatment plan coordinator. I would always be speaking of quantum physics, the observer, subconscious mind. I would just talk, and everybody was like, wow. They thought I was crazy at first, but then their lives started to change and to shift and to transcend to the point in which one day my manager crying told me, doctor, fly away. You're ready. You've helped us so much. And it still makes me cry because I'm like, they gave me the freedom I needed, because I would have stuck for them because they were happy having me as the boss. But they're oh, fly, do what you're meant to do in the world, because you've done it for us. Not being so happy about doing the actual dental work, but you've showed up. And the work is doing that inner work. And you said the word accepting. In ontological coaching that I'm certified in, acceptance is such a powerful, state, because you don't have to like it. You have to find the acceptance so that there's cellular regulation in your nervous system. Because if you're opposing the fact, if I were to be opposing, I'm a dentist, no, I'm not a dentist, no, I have an office, no, I don't have an office, my nervous system would be so dysregulated. My sympathetic nervous system would be in fight, in flight, in collapse and freeze, and I wouldn't have been able to relate to my patients, to my staff, to myself in a soothing, safe way. So we have to be smart. If we want to create a new reality, we have to give our bodies in the moment a safety net.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad. I mean, wow. Wow. Like, it's amazing what you just explained of what just by accepting something, how the body reacts.
Yeah, it's soothe.
Wow.
And it happens to,
Yeah.
that's why they call this word of validation, validate where you are. It doesn't mean you have to like it. It doesn't mean that you are approving of it forever. Like I
Mhm.
knew I wasn't going to be in the office forever. Did I know my
Yeah.
way out? No, I didn't know the how, but I knew the what and I knew the why. And I knew that I needed to do it from a space of gratefulness, of presence, of regulating my nervous system. And then slowly life puts in your path information, situations, people, books, you name it. And then you
Yes.
start tapping into the next and into the next. So we start building this, like I call it light castle from within.
Mm.
But it's one smile at a time, it's one blink at a time, it's one
Yeah.
inhale at a time. Otherwise, our minds gets us into, why am I here? Why am I a dentist? Blah, blah, blah. And, there's always that victim mode mentality.
Mhm.
If we let it run it.
Yeah. Wow.
Presence is key.
Yes, it is indeed. And again, it's about coming to that acceptance, as you said, the presence as well, because life is too short. That's the truth. And we got to find a way that even when we are in a place that don't feel very comfortable, like what can we do to actually like feel better, or at least a bit better than yesterday?
Yes, yes. And I tell you that I remember Sundays was such a difficult day for me, especially like around 4 p.m. because then the day starts to wind down and Monday starts to come in.
Yes.
I had this knot in my tummy and I would always just come back to the moment. I was like, right now, I'm still here. Right now, I'm still here. And
Mhm.
just the thought of my drive to work would make me feel at ease because I knew I have 40 minutes in the car. So I knew in those 40 minutes, I would regulate myself. And once I would open the doors to the office, I would be in another state. So using the in-betweens to put a podcast, I would listen a lot to Dr. Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton. Like in the bathroom, in the shower, anywhere, I would just actually feed myself this other new reality so that I could actually do the best in the transition spaces. So I remember driving to work. Whew, I had to, sing to the sun. I had to cry. I had to stretch. I had to move energy around. My car was my temple away from my home because my dream was to work from home and not having a location to be the prison, which is not what I have. It's like, I don't have to move from my house and I get to do what I love. And
Yes.
back in the day, I had to find what made me smile from within in that second, whether it was a podcast, whether it was a stretching and like crying, whether it was making up songs to the sun and like really like invoking my desire. But it's like tapping an incense, palo santo, whatever
Yeah.
it was to like get my mind into the next.
Uh-huh.
Not get trapped into, I have a title and I now have to do this for life until I'm 80. No, no. I get your body into the future, get your mind
Yes.
into the future so that your emotions get unstuck because the emotions will always remind us of the past. So that work is like in the in-betweens, the transitions, accepting where you are and making the best of it.
Yes. Wow. Thank you for mentioning of that, because that's for our listeners. It's gonna be key.
Yeah.
Like knowing that there are a lot of tools. It's about then just choosing what works for us. Yeah. Like for me, sometimes when I feel stuck in my energy, it's like put a song, dance it out. And I'm sure you do that too sometimes, right?
That was part of my awakening with God, like through music. I would tell him just like, I know you. Like I already know quantum physics. I know epigenetics. I understand the science of change. I know it. I have felt you at times, but my body forgets you. There's like a spiritual amnesia that I still have like stuck in my body. Please God, come right through me. And I would sing to it. I would sing. And then YouTube would come up and give me a song. There's a song that I will share with you later, but it's in Spanish. It's called Quédate, Stay.
Okay.
And stay. When I would tell him like, I know you, I feel you, but my body forgets you. YouTube changed from the music I had to this one song. It was a gift from God, and it's become my best friend. And music has this ability to put you in states that you need to get into to release what's blocking you. Sometimes I will dance it and shake it and enjoy it. Other times it will be a melody that would make me cry with no even idea of why I was crying, but it would be shakings, it would be liberations, it would be nervous system regulations. That's why I would spend those days that I wasn't at work stretching. I would spend like 3 hours in one hip or 2 hours in the other hip. And then I started noticing images would come up. Then I would start doing research. What's happening in the hips? I found the muscle of the psoas muscle. I started really putting together what was happening in the fascia because I was holding postures for so long that I was stopping into my nervous system, the parasympathetic branch, which is calm, is tranquility, is acceptance, is regulating emotionally. So through music, God made me stay put in silence so that I would really hear all the noise within. And with the back of the noise, then that inner smile aligns. And then you start smiling from within because you're connected to something so much higher than your identity. Something
Definitely.
so much higher than Dr. Annette or Annette. And that's a key.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and I'm so glad that you brought that about, because I mean, I know you because you were my teacher in the neuroepigenetic breathing certification that I'm currently taking. And so you talk about the psoas and then how much trauma like it gets stuck in there. And what I have experienced by being in other programs as well, by noticing women, how difficult for us is to move the hips because of everything that is in there, and the importance of, then as you said, like dancing, like movement, shaking, so we can release whatever it is that it's in there, that some of the stuff belongs to us, other ones belongs to the family, other ones belong even to the collective, that we don't know all those memories.
Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of it. Like once you start into this, that's why I call my system Anette philosophy, and it has a base on the philosophy of stretch philosophy. When we go through life stretching beyond our conditionings, beyond what we think it is, and we actually put the body into reposturing mentally, emotionally, and physically, we start rewiring our nervous system, and we start really installing that which we really want, and not that which is installed because family, loyalties, inheritances, epigenetic happenings in our environment. So stretching, like literally like just staying put in one area, is like what we call yin yoga that's not dynamic, is static. So it's like just stretching one space at a time. There's so much like reopening of the avenues of the fascia and rehydration. And when we rehydrate the fascia, it releases a stagnant electricity. Sometimes we don't have to know what the trauma was. Sometimes we don't even have to get an image. It just like reopens the inner avenues of electrical conduction. And since we are an electrical being in this vessel of skin, we need to like be smart about like, how do I open areas that otherwise are so stuck that there's a big traffic jam in my pelvis, where there's more energy stored in the body. That's in the battery system. That's like the nervous system, the central nervous system. At the base, that's where most energy is at. But it's where most energy is stuck in the crystallizations of the fascia, in the psoas muscles that's like not elongated enough because it was trapping all of the fight and flight reactions that we had as kids. Every time something happened, whoop, and then the fascia. Whoop. So when we stretch, when we move, when we dance, when we breathe, when we sing, we activate that vagus nerve that's going to let that fascia opens. It's going to let that muscle release. And then the whole liquid in your nervous system starts to like dance. And wow, things start to open. And it's such a synchronized inner movement that truly just makes you smile from within when you allow it. Because it's like, you get out of your mind. You get out of your emotional being habits of thoughts. And then you're like, you're in the nothingness of the everythingness. You start feeling connected to that next life that you want, because there's a base of something has my back. It's like something higher than me has my back.
Yes. Yeah. And the thing is, we're always connected to that part. It's just having that awareness, right? Because source, I call it GAS. I found this acronym somewhere and I said it's GAS, like God, universe, or source. We can call it any name. Yeah, but we're always supported. So it's about then having that awareness that, yeah, I am connected.
And that's key to understand that it's always available, but doesn't
Yeah.
mean that that we open the faucet, or the faucet, like
Yeah.
we close it, and we're an antenna. So this antenna, this radar, cellularly, let's always go back to basics of biology and nervous system and electricity, because we are all stuck in these beautiful bodies that work through electricity. But if we are a misaligned antenna and God vibrates here, but we are here,
Up and
it
down.
just
Yeah.
cannot penetrate. So we have to allow and learn how to train the body, how to train the emotions, how to train the mind to vibrate at higher frequencies, so that we are an antenna that is in tune to that melody. Otherwise, it's like God trying to come in and we're like, It's like, if you go to the radio station of like
Yeah.
classical music, but you are in a station inside of like reggaeton or music that's really like just folkloric, you're not going to hear the melodic symphony. You're just going to hear what you are synchronizing to from within. So
Yeah.
that's the work, and that's the game, that's the play. How do we higher up the the frequencies of our cells, the environment internally, so that we become one with that which exists, and that there's no doubt, no ancestral like civilization had doubts that God existed. They didn't have the science, they didn't need to. They had the science of God within. And that's the reminder. It's like, yeah, we could have the science, and that's amazing for, left hemispheres that we need it. But once we get it, let's just walk through the bridge of God, and let's get into that mystical, spiritual way of bringing it down to earth on our everyday life, because there's so much more than meets the eye.
Yes, definitely. I would like you, because I know, I love how you embody God in yourself. It's just like I can see it in your smiling, your energy, just, by sharing here the screen with you. And I just love it. That's fascinating for me. So, how is it that we can tune in to God?
Well, a little bit of a backstory. I was born and raised in Cuba, communist Cuba, where the history of the country for a long time, religion wasn't allowed, churches were closed. So my family never raised me even believing in God or anything, universe, God, nothing. My family were doctors. My dad was a surgeon. Everybody's a doctor. So it was all science-based. Okay. So that was my upbringing. I never had God in my heart or in my mind. As I started growing, and around my 27 years of age, God started to just popping everywhere, just like giving me information and revelations. And I was like, and because I'm so open and I've always had this connection to my body, I would receive it. I didn't have block radar. I had it open. So I would receive, and I would receive, and I would sit with the information, and I would just be like, oh my God, there's more to life than just like my mind or my skin. And that's where I started in this dynamic, intimate conversations with life. And I was like, I understand there's more than what I've known, but why is it that my body doesn't feel it yet? What is it that my body forgets? Because I live through sensorial ways. I'm like, I like to smell, I like to touch. I'm very like, And this is something I've also developed, because my tendencies, if I don't watch out, is to like, indifference, like apathy, or like, I'll do it later. And that's a body that's also like disconnected. So through the years, I've had to learn how to turn it on, because I had to go to school. I had to do things in life. And if I would have allowed that habit, I would be on the couch, no title, no house, no money. So I learned how to turn myself on. But then this turning on happens easier when it's from God. So when God started to reveal himself to me through books, through people, through information, and I started stretching, and I started allowing my sexual energy, my pelvis to open up, my breathing to deepen, my nervous system to get regulated. It was just like, symphonies would come on my ear. Like, everything would speak to me. I would just say something and things would happen. Like, it would just be like, wow, like this power is within me. So then I would just start feeling it more and feeling it more. And a lot of times would be like tears of immensity. I would feel so in plentifulness that it wasn't happiness. It was just like in awe of the moment, because I felt like literally being caressed and made love by God. Just like there's no other love greater than that, because it's like the best couple. It's like the best lover. It's like there's no husband, and I have a beautiful, nice husband, but I tell him, I love you, love me so well, but there's no love like the one I feel from inside. It's just like it devours me. It knows what to
Yes.
tell me. It knows how to touch me. It knows. It's just like it's so beautiful and soothing, but like also like strong and firm. And that is it's being a relationship. It gets to be built. It's an intimacy. It's a cultivation. There's something that Joe Dispenza always said that that reminded me of cultivating dates with the divine. Dating the divine. You have to date yourself. You have to date yourself to date the divine. And in one of my deep conversations with life, with God, with the universe, one time as I was crying and telling God, please come into my body. Like I want to feel you. I want to like, like I want to like, I don't want it just to be in my mind. God would tell me in my ear, God never misses a date. I'm always waiting, sitting at the table. And it was just, I would see like a cosmic table. It was just like a galaxy in form of shape of a table. And I would just see like a little tuxedo made out of stars. And he had a rose. It was just no face. It was just the wholeness. And he would tell me, God never misses a date. I'm always here waiting for you to return to sit at my table. And I was like,
Wow, that gives me chills.
so it's just the gap, the distance, the doubt, that coldness is the one that we have to learn how to like melt away, so that we're in firmness and verticality. I always get vertical connection, so that we can get into that spiral, so that we can start like dancing around that firmness and that certainty. And that only God could provide it for us, but God doesn't give it to us. We get to it. We have to play the game inside so that we get past the human, so that we position ourselves into that light being, that radar, that frequency that becomes a match to that melody. So it's a process. But when we do stretching, dancing, breathing, reading higher books, and we practice it, we bring it close and close. It develops, because God wants to live in everyone turned on, not as a little spark. God wants to be a fire in your heart, a fire in your pelvis, a fire in your mind, a fire in your like smile. Doesn't want to be a spark. And every human has a spark of the divine, but from a spark, you cannot make like a barbecue. You need to get the fire going, right? And that fire, you need to like oxygenate it, and you need to do steps. You can just, I have the spark of the divine lighting me, lighting you, too new age. You need to walk it, make it, be it, because life does not give us what we want. Life gives us who we are being, what we are emanating. There has to be a match. So God is a state that we have to match from within.
Wow. I'm speechless.
Oh.
I'm speechless. And that's true, because we say we have the spark. Yeah, but we need that fire to live fully, truly, and we need that fire. And it's up to us to light it more and more and more. It's up to us to connect at a deeper level, because a lot of people, and probably the way I used to live before, we live in, in a God and stuff. I was raised Catholic, but I never felt that connection with God itself when I was within the religion, until I noticed that it is a universal God consciousness. I was like, okay, this one is the one. This is the love that is when I finally start feeling loved from God when getting into my spiritual path. But as you said, what I wanted to say before is like, a lot of people is like, God is guiding me or whatever. Yeah, but what are you also doing for you to tune in, to turn on that fire, to connect to it? Because God gives us free will. When are you going to use it and put it up, that fire in your body, to actually live a life that you deserve? But at the same time, you are the creator.
Totally, 100%. And yes, and that's the thing with this new movement of new age thinking, magical thinking, fantasy. Yeah, God needs you more than you need God. God needs you to get past the instructions that keep us stuck into our habitual self. For the universe to evolve, you need to be doing the work, because that's how God gets even past beyond what he created in us, because we're no different. We're just like detached, believing that we are a fragment of it. But like it takes responsibility.
Yes.
It takes a lot of like integrity. It takes a lot of ethics daily of I do what I said I would do. The way I think, the way I speak, the way I feel, and the way I act have to match. And that's total work. That's frequency work. That's emotional work. That's, not getting attached to the story of like, this happened to me, then this happened to me. And like the whole trauma, looking at the trauma. No, no, no. What is it that you want to create? New neural circuits. Otherwise, you're stuck always in that transition between worlds. God gave us the ability to create, but what are we creating? That which we believe to be true, or that which we choose to be true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what are we choosing?
Yeah, choosing decision. That's like such a powerful act of love. God, I choose this path because in that new life I'm going to create it with you. Because this old path that I created, dentist, I created it from the human. I didn't really need this. I created it in automatic. I graduated, I did it, blah, blah, blah. Boom. Now, for me to create Smiles from Within, Las Sonrisas del Alma, my whole movement, I need God in all the states of my being. And then it's a gift to that part of me. And for that, I'm going to have to do the work of blocking the human that's going to come on and say, no, today don't do that. No, don't go on the live. Blah, blah. Like there's a lot of voices that we always have to like, no, you don't belong in me today. I'm sorry. I hear you, but no, I choose this. I choose this. And it takes a lot of like a brave heart. Brave heart.
Yeah. And a lot of conviction also, and resilience. Like to say, okay, this day is like, okay, what am I choosing? Again, coming back to that choosing. How can I get out of here? Okay, let's play a song. Let's breathe. Let's listen to something that are going to bring us to a different state. Right?
I love that word, conviction and devotion. Those words, conviction, devotion, decision.
Yeah.
It's like the green flag that keeps us like getting into that target. Otherwise, if we are led by motivation, we're stuck, because there's a blue moon or a full moon or an eclipse, or we got we're menstruating, or we're menopausing. Anything external could, just like polarize us into not having motivation. But when we have like this word, like, no, we're setting is this, and my why is so like clear, and I just keep going one step at a time, one blink at a time. I always say, if you conquer yourself in this one blink, and in this next inhale, conquering yourself one little mountain at a time, then the next moment you're gonna go at it with a more regulated nervous system, and then clarity is gonna be, your brain waves are gonna be in a state that you're gonna be more prone to receiving and not to analyze and judge and block the information that's coming through. Yeah. So that's why as a whole, we have to learn how to regulate the fire, because sometimes too much fire, we burn it all. Too little fire, the meat is uncooked. But we need to, in every moment, we need to like be so present.
Yeah, that's the key. It's the presence, because the more present we are, the better choices we can take.
100%. And fire is not only the only element we're made out of. There's water, there's air, our spoken word, the clarity in which we give directions to the universe, so that infinite possibility could become the one that you desire. So air, your word, like fire, your actions, your resolution in going into the world, which is your electricity, emotions, your water. If they're stagnant and they get stuck, water smells like crap if you let a space not move, right? But if you learn how to move your waters, if you learn how to unblock the fascia, that's pure water, then you get that electricity moving, and you get to be aligned to the desire and not get stuck into what you don't desire. And then there's the earth, the sustainability, the safety that I know I have roots and I know I have a way of going always towards the light. So we need to learn what is it that we need in each moment. Do I need the flexibility of air and just fly high to see the panoramic? Or in this moment, I need to put that air into the fire because the fire is not cooking. Or do I need to just like not so much fire and I need now emotions because I need to have a beautiful conversation? Or do I have just need to get, sustainability and like, stability because I need earth because I'm not very grounded. What is it that I need to go into the world with a nervous system that's my allied and a biochemistry that's my best friend? And that's what I call to live a magical life in a very human way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but it's choice after choice.
Yes. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love how you talk about the elements. You mentioned something that a lot of people struggle with. Uh, I think because I'm a Pisces.
Mm.
I'm going to the emotions. What are, what like how, yeah, what processes do you use to help people process their emotions?
Beautiful question, because there's people that have more propensity to get into their emotions and sometimes too much into their emotions. My son is a moon in Pisces and ascendant in Cancer. So any little moon happens and my little son is like, he gets deep in it and I teach him how to regulate. Otherwise he could get drowned into so much water, right? Or so much into the other people. So there's a lot of my clients that have zero water on their charts and they don't know how to tap into their emotions, or they just have a very disharmonious way in which they relate to their inner waters. So a very straightforward way, and I go back always to stretching, because when we stretch, automatically we are tapping into the parasympathetic nervous system. We're activating the activity of the vagus nerve, which is the one that lets you cry, the one that lets you really even have an orgasm, the one that lets you just be in the moment. So when we stretch, the fascia opens up, it allows the muscles to decontract. So then the electricity starts to move, and emotions is energy in motion, and energy at the level of the body is electricity. So we need to learn how to unstuck. And when we move and we let, moments of like, like a space that's uncomfortable, going there and rotating and like opening it up, eventually something happens, either a sigh or like a cry or like and then we tap into that inner world and closing our eyes to have a deep like a deep search inside. Sometimes when we open our eyes, there's so much stimulus that we don't get to really tap to the emotional world. And for people that don't have that ability so quickly, closing the eyes, being in stillness, or using conscious movement to tap into sequestered and like emotional cysts that live in the body. Once we go and stretch a space of discomfort, an emotion shows up, or through music. So it's very important to go in search, like curiosity. What's there? It sounds that I'm angry, but is it? Maybe not. Maybe you're really sad and you have a huge grief. So you got to put the facade of I'm angry. So there's so much more that meets the eye in the emotional world, but we need to have a way of getting out of the critical thinking, analytical mind, because the wavelengths at which that brain works are not the same wavelengths at which the limbic brain, emotional brain works. And emotions work a lot through the unconscious mind of images. The unconscious mind speaks through images. So a lot of times sadness, if I talk to my clients and I walk them into what I call psychic surgery, they tell me a story and I'm like, okay, then we get into a word, and that word, they say, I'm sad. What color is sadness? What texture? What smell? What does it look like? La, la, la. And when we start really digging and digging, there's so much information in the emotion that we have labeled as sadness. So it takes a lot of like discovery and questioning and asking questions to it. And the body knows its language, its sensations and images. So the emotions we think is in the heart, but they live in the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, unfortunately, we have taught to, just to focus on the top of our body, just to be in our heads, you know, from the throat up. That is, yeah, it's, I don't know what it is to really choose. Like for me, my experience was that after doing yoga for several years, finally my body and my mind connected. But it took a while,
Mm-hmm.
right?
You need that decision to go into the body, not because the body is the key, but because
Mhm.
in the body there's a key to the door, and there's you have to go find. It's like a treasure hunt.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's so true. And what I have noticed, like now by doing the certification of the neuroprogenetical breathing, is that some pain in my body has came back. But then I wonder, does it really came back or I was not aware of it?
100% is the level of awareness, because you're putting more things at the layer of consciousness. Because there's so
Yes.
much in the back, so much information in the back that we're not aware of, and
Hmm.
that we can do not notice. Because what you're saying also, when it's like we're so used to living from the neck up, and it's not on purpose. The thing is, when in the development of the child, nervous system wise and brain wave wise, my son, for example, when I knew I was pregnant and I was already in this path, I was like, yes, this is going to be my best experiment, because I'm going to feed this baby with oxytocin, serotonin. Like, I'm going to give him all that space to come into the world with a nervous system that feels safety. And my son is like, it's like super secure attachment. If I go flying, if I go here, he's like, bye, mom, I love you. Like, he is so put together in his own little body.
Wow.
But the thing is, when we are children and we don't have a caretaker that models emotional regulation, kids do
Mm.
not listen what you say. They feel what you're emanating in your electromagnetic field. So if you have
Mhm.
an adult that's caring for the kid, we cook, we do all the things, but we don't regulate ourselves. We are teaching that antenna, that cellular antenna, that you have to be in the lookout, in the, when is mommy gonna yell, when is daddy gonna like do this, and like I have to be the good boy. I have to.
Mhm.
Kids don't know. They always think parents are right and that they're wrong. So if daddy's mad and mommy's sad, why did I do? There must be something wrong with me. And it's so painful, and they don't have developed the neocortex. It starts at age of almost 6, almost 7. So in those first 6, 7 years, it's so emotionally felt, and they don't have the biochemical processing. So they detach. It's called dissociation.
Okay.
So it's like pain body.
Mhm.
It's like a nervous system cut. It's like there's that process, the actual curve doesn't get processed. So it gets cyst, como un quiste. It gets stuck in the body
Mhm.
based on the frequency that it held in different organs, in different fascial, patterns of interference. That's why the electrical being between the mind, the body, and the emotions get almost like cut, shut down, because the kid doesn't know how to process all of that. So if we don't have parents that really model us how to repair after a rupture, how to, I see you, I understand you're mad. When
Mhm.
you're ready to speak, I'm here and I love you. You did this and this, but my love is not taken away when you do this and this. I am here. I'm teaching you how to be a human on earth. If we don't have that, which we didn't have it, and I come from a great family. My mom was a psychologist. She was amazing. She taught me how to talk to my body. I would always be like, how do I feel? Because she would always point to her belly when she
Yeah.
would talk. So I learned that from her, but she also had her own shortcomings because of my grandma and all what happens in the lineage.
Yeah.
But this is what we have now. We get to reparent ourselves. We get to learn that there's a whole world from the neck down, and there's a whole like information and secret and instructions that got kept stuck in the nervous system. And if we don't have a deep look from within, they don't align. So yoga is a beautiful way of union, of really reconnecting, of assessing, wow, there's a pain body connection here and I need to reconnect. And I have to be brave because I'm going to find things that I don't want to see.
Yeah.
Because as a little boy, a little girl, it was hard to process that daddy gets drunk and, hits mommy. Whatever story, doesn't have to be big capital T. It could be either little thing. I wanted to play and daddy was sleeping, didn't want us to play. That for a kid is like, whoa. And we all get traumatized for many various reasons. The point is to allow the body the language in which could liberate that stuck electricity, right? So that we can become a whole battery of circuitry in which we can liberate and electromagnetic ways of the toroidal, so that we can have a torus that is like expanded and we don't get contracted, but we learn how to liberate. And it is mind, body, and emotions, and it's a whole process every day kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. So I guess what you just said, that's the base of your stretch dancer model.
Yeah. To be honest, it started happening truly, when I would have those deep conversations with God, I would just be linearly stuck in the mat in one hip at a time. As I was going through emotional processing of the dad of my son, the connection wasn't really there. Like he was very detached from life, very cold. And I realized that I couldn't be looking at him. I had to find within me, where was I cold? Where was I detached? Where was I disconnected? And my work was to close the gap. And I realized that it wasn't that I was disconnected with life and with him or anything else. I was disconnected from God. I was disconnected because I never had it built in from family. So I had to build it. And in those linear stretching of like just holding postures like yin yoga would do, then music would start to like, whoa, whoa. And then I started finding this like movements, like, like the air, like like the wind. I would just start like making movements that would remind me intuitively to movements of nature. And from there, I didn't know that what I was doing, but I was awakening all the fibers of the nonlinear fascia. I tapped into spaces, every corner of this electrical circuit that is called the fascia, that held emotions, that held information. So I woke up literally God from within, because it says that God lives within the spine and God lives in the fascia. Fascia is like the fiber optic of the body, the information electrical that goes in between this system that surrounds every cell, every organ, everything. It's 6 to 10 times faster than from neurons to neurons. So when we learn how to open that up, our whole electromagnetic field expands and we become a radar to life. And then, so that's why stretching and nonlinear stretching and spiraling like DNA, like galaxies, when we become one with that which is everything, that awakens from within.
Oh, it's so beautiful. That's what I love, ecstatic dance. And also just, dancing on my own is just the expression of the body. We don't have to follow steps nor anything. And at one point, I remember when I started more like into dancing and I was like, get out of the head, like allowing my heart to move. And that in the movement from there, it's completely different. It's non-linear. It's just, that beautiful sensation of movement and just allowing it, as you said. And then it depends also of the song, how, it wants to move and express, and if there are more emotions coming out, or probably it's at one point you pause or you are even, dancing slower when the song is like boom, boom, boom. It's just listening really to the body, what it needs.
Correct. And it gets to a point that where we surrender enough, the electrical way of spiraling, it takes over. And then your body starts to move not by commands of your own, by innate ability to express. And we can all of a sudden see colors, shapes, geometry, and then we start like, it's like a whole symphony that starts happening from within. And it could be that you are at the rhythm with the song, and it could be that you find out a whole other rhythm from within, and that's totally fine. That's why it could be chaotic. It could be anything. Doesn't have to be the 1, 2, 3. I'm Cuban, so I obviously know salsa, merengue, bachata. I can dance it all. But I barely dance that. At a party, I'm the one standing by myself doing my whatever, because that's how I connect to music. Like, I'm not the one like, oh, let's do da, 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 da. Or probably I sit down, because that's not the center of attention to me. My center is that space that only my body could provide through images, to, like colors. So, and that's why I call it, like, it's like an intimacy that you could only find from within, and
Yes.
putting the body as the instrument to take away the lack of flow. And once the body becomes the instrument, the heart becomes the guiding system. God, the God in the heart cannot open up as much, that fire in the heart, if there's 3 different metabolic spaces or chakras that are like contained, repressed. So it's like a water repress.
Yeah.
When you open a door, a lot flushes through, but then it gets stuck into the next. If you open that door, then more information comes up. And then when you have everything open, it's like a whole circulation of goodness, of aliveness, vitality,
Yes.
radiance. And that's where we get into the match of the God frequency. We become the galaxy from within. And then we can hear, we can feel, we can be, and then we can take better actions, because we're always going to mess up from the human that we have been. It doesn't mean that we're perfect. It means that every time I see my human wanting to make the decisions, I choose my position of God. I choose my paradigm of light. I understand that it's not whether I have or if I don't, if I know, if I don't know. It's not that. It's what do I choose and where do I put my mind? My mind is in God, and I know I have the ability to create my reality. So I'm going to do my best to put myself in that frequency until I believe it. Dance that creation. Dance it until you become it, right? And it becomes a game with life. It's like playfulness.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, because life itself is a dance.
Well, you saw in the class how I showed you guys the craniosacral rhythm, the rhythm that gives life to all the rhythms in the body. Like, there's the little liquid, the no, in English is liquid cephalo. I forget. A cerebrospinal fluid, because now I'm thinking in Spanish those terms. But the cerebrospinal fluid rushes, from a part of the brain 6 times to 12 times a minute, and it flushes through the nervous system, through the inner canal, and that pushes the fascia, it pushes the bones, and everything has to be doing this.
An
Bones have to open
expansion.
up
Yeah.
and have to close. They have to open. So there's an actual dance when everything is healthy. Bones are open and closed. But when we're not healthy and we're collapsed and we contracted and we have muscular issues and we have fascial contractions, the bones do this and the fascia do this. And then our nervous system, central nervous system, cannot do the vital expression. So imagine what happens metabolically. Imagine what happens systemically. Imagine what happens to communication within cells. So there's a whole dance within, and that's so true at the biological level. And there's a whole dance universally. And there's a whole dance in the psyche of the universe. So to become the dancers and the attunement and the radar to that which is always available, but we don't have the ability to tap into because we're not there. That's the key. That's the walk. That's the path. And that's why we're here.
Yeah, that's the human experience. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah,
This is so delicious.
it is.
Oh.
Hmm.
So our audience, we have a lot of women that are going through, to life transitions, either like divorce or loss or reinvention. One, because you already mentioned like stretch dancer. Will this be the practice, or would you recommend also something else for them to reconnect to their authentic flow in life?
Well, the mind tends to play us trick because it's always going to go back to, oh my God, I lost my husband. Oh my God, I'm old. Oh my God, this. Oh my God, that. So it's important to have a legacy of life that you want to create. Have a result. Have a desired outcome, so that we can practice to train our minds, our emotions, and our bodies into that next reality. So as you're dancing, putting your mind into it. As you're moving, putting your emotions into painting that canvas. Because the body's going to be like, nah, that's a lie. No, we're here. We're stuck. We don't have money. Our husband's cheated. Blah, 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 blah. But that's why that transition, that bridge, is going to determine whether you stay stuck on this side of the bridge, looking down and saying, that's it, my life went down, or you walk and you get to this next area. So we train our bodies through conscious breathing, through stretching, through dancing, through grounding, through eating anti-inflammatory, unprocessed foods, sunlight, all that. But we train our minds and our emotions, having the observer and the focus into a result of that desired future that we created in the present. So we have to be constantly reminding ourselves in a very concrete way, like 3-4 sentences of, I am a mentor of conscious leadership and I make this amount of money, la, 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 boom. And every time my body, my mind, and my emotions wants to go into, because I'm a dentist, because I got, because then we start establishing new neural pathways. And by not putting attention to this old persona of the divorce, of the menopause, if it's menopause that's kicking the booty, because sometimes it is, whatever process, if you don't pay attention to it, we start having a process that's called pruning away. The neural circuitry that's so used to firing together, they start to unwire because we're putting the focus, the mind, the energy, the observer, based on quantum physics. What you observe, you create. But you have to have a trained mind to put the mind where you like it and not let it divert yourself to where you come from. That reality is already stuck in your body. That's already made, but you don't want it more. So you need to put it somewhere else. So becoming your prayer. That's why having that clarity and dancing and moving it, stretching it, writing it, painting it, become art. Make your desired future an artful situation. And we all have ways of expressing our art. My expressive art situation is my movement, my body, the way I connect to my emotions. Other people is through writing. Other people is through painting.
Yes.
We all have ways, but sometimes we have various ways. And the point is to just poke through the whole system, right? The whole being is the sum of the quality of our thoughts, the quality of our emotions, and the quality of our body. So we need to remember that we have to target each circle because the being is in the middle. The sum of your mind, the sum of your body, the sum of your emotions. If you never pay attention to the emotions, or you only pay attention to the mind, but you never pay attention to the body, the sum of those three are going to give you the average of who you are. But if you want to increase the level of observer, the level of reality in your future, you need to tap into the emotion. You need to tap into the mind, and you need to tap into the body. So it's finding the ways that help each one, right? For me, stretching, above all, because from stretching, even if I don't feel like dancing, stretching taps into my nervous system. There's days that you have more energy and then the stretching becomes a dance.
Okay.
No matter what, even if I'm sad, I drop it to my hips, hip openers. It's going to move your cerebrospinal fluid. It's going to tap into your psoas. It's going to tap into your vagus nerve. It's going to tap into your parasympathetic. It's going to lower your brain waves, which is going to then get you into more closeness to your limbic brain, where all the information is in the unconscious mind. So it's always for me, it's how do I get deeper, faster?
Yes.
Right? The rate of comeback to center. So stretching for me, dancing for others, conscious breathing like RNA, breathing neuroepigenetics. So it's increasing the pressure in the canal so that you can move energy and tap into the pineal gland, connect to higher dimensions. But there's so many ways because God left so many ways of access to him inside of us. There's so many doors.
Yes.
So we have to open as many as possible.
I love that.
Open the big door and we become the key and we actually walk through it.
Yeah. We are the ones who have the key to walk through it.
And if we don't have it yet, it is our job to find it within our fascias, within our fibers, within our hearts, within our memories, but not to get stuck into them, but to use it, run towards that future that we are choosing.
Yeah.
And make your life and your environment speak to you. My house is all full of colors and full of little, like, I sit on the floor. It reminds me of God, of groundingness, of just stretch. I have my yoga mat, I have my incense, my altar, my the walls speak to me in different art form, because you have to always remind yourself of what truly makes you smile from within. Because there's a lot of things in life that will make you forget your inner smile. But you have to be the
Yeah.
constant reminder of what is it that turns on your fire. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because sometimes it's kind of tricky, I mean, between quotes, if we can call it that way, the fact that the more present we are, that's the better reality, that we can create because we are choosing. But then it's also this kind of like, but at the same time, it's like that your future is there. So sometimes, and I have had this question, it's like, it sounds like contradictory because you're telling me to be present, but you're also telling me to focus on the future. So it's like, what do I do?
There's the key there, because we have to bring the future to the present. That's why you have to embody what you want. And that's where the emotions and the body get in, because the mind goes into the future. But to bring the future mind, the reality that you desire, you have to eat it, devour it, feel it, dance it, touch it, paint it. Then you bring the future into the present. You don't fantasize with it. You become it. You
It's the
breathe it. You
embodiment.
make love to it. You make love to it. When you're about to climax, you think, you speak that reality into the moment. That's why it's like, it's embodied reality. And it's, you have to believe, and then you'll see, but you have to believe with all of your being, with your three, brains. You have to believe with your mind, you have to believe in your heart, and you have to believe in your body. And the language of the body is sensations and images. The language of the emotions is obviously, feelings. And the mind is obviously verbal language. So when you have clarity on that future, and you have emotional clarity on how that future will feel, I wanted to feel free, freedompreneurship. When I felt trapped into golden handcuffs in a dental office. So when I went to Joe Dispenza for the first time, and I was tapping to the pineal gland, all I was feeling, freedom, freedom, freedom. Boom, I got pregnant. And I thought my pregnancy was going to be my ticket to freedom, because I was like, now I'm pregnant. The office is going to have to run on its own. And yeah, he was part of the ticket to my freedom, but that's where my real job started. Like, I had to go back into the office with the baby and build another 9 years. But if at that moment I would have been like, ¿dónde está el futuro? Where is the future? Where is the future? I had to become that future. I had to embody it. I had to emanate it. I had to be so in touch and in love with that future in my body cellularly, that then the reality would start giving me hints of it. Crumbs.
Yes.
And then the next, and then the next, and then the next. So it's bringing the future into the present. And that makes the past dissolve and empty out. But we have to put the mind. It's like, like the sand clocks,
Yes.
So imagine where the sand is coming from is the past. Right in the center is the present, and the future is here. So we have to think of the future. It's accumulating. We're accumulating that beautiful future that we want, but it has to pass through a present. But that present is very tiny. But you have to feel, like, imagine that it's like that sand clock is like the body. So in the bottom of it, the future has to be felt in the pelvis. You have to pump it. You have to feel it in your creative center. You have to give it the fire of your inner confidence. You have to give it the heart. You have to give it the clarity, verbal clarity, abracadabra, how I speak, I create. You have to have that vision, and you have to have that consciousness, and then it's a work. It's work. It's constant work, because it gets stuck into the creative mode, but you don't bring it up into your confidence, and you don't bring it up into your heart. If you don't speak it into existence, if you don't see it, it's just going to get stuck in the body. And then you're like, oh, but I have all this woo-woo books and this, but I'm not living the reality I want. Well, you're not doing the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, taka, 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 taka. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah, we got to do it. Yeah, it's about doing the work. Yeah.
addicted to that connection, to that future, and break the addiction to the past, to the apathy, to the lethargy, to the frustration, to the anger, to the why me, to the blah, blah, blah. Gotta put the mind into the next, so that that
Yeah.
future gets built and the past, where the sand comes from, gets emptied. Eventually,
Yeah.
all the sand is in the future. And
Yeah.
the where it started from, it's empty. But you cannot empty the past if you focus on the past all the time.
Yeah.
You
True.
cannot empty it from the future, bringing it to the present. So that's where the body is the instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Not where it ends, is the instrument. So that we can get back up and connection, vertical connection. We close the gap of doubt and we fill it with certainty, with security, with devotion, conviction.
Yes. Yeah. And coming back to the analogy of the sand clock, if you think about it, the present is just the very tiny
There.
one, right? The very narrow part. And I think also, if we use that analogy, it's important because the present is, again, is the now, the now, the now, the now. And it's important that it goes in a way slow because the body needs to catch up. Otherwise, if we would get everything we want from our future like this in a matter of minutes, the body could not take it because the nervous system needs to adapt to it.
100%. It's like we have a thermostat. It's like, especially yes. Receivership. Like humans, we're used to giving, electrical providing, but we're not used to magnetically receiving.
Oh, yeah.
The nervous system gets used to that. So if all of a sudden I put everything you ever desired on the table, what true love feels like, your nervous system is going to collapse, because what's known is not that. What's known is the scarcity, no one loves me, the he didn't reply back, the I'm ghosted, I'm abandoned. So all of a sudden I put the one man that gives it all and all the money and all the blah, 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 too good to be true, because discerningness at the base of the nervous system recollection is not truly there. So we do need to do this re-update daily to put ourselves updated so that we can start learning how to receive the beautiful big things in life and not want to put out that energy. As we learn with Sajiva, that most people, when they start doing the work and they get so turned on and so excited, all of a sudden they want to just, release the energy through like manipulation of the, genital organs, masturbation, because they want to get that electricity out, because they don't know how to sustain so much life. They don't know how to circulate it. They don't know how to derive the mind into creating the future. And they get sometimes even more stuck into the past because they have all this energy, and then it goes into the mind trying to analyze the past and the trauma, instead of put that energy into what you want to create in the future, like sexualize, make love to what you want. Because otherwise you're going to continue to create the same predictable future from that past that you don't empty out. So this is the gym of the soul. This is the true training.
Yes, definitely.
I don't lift weights, but I do lift my heart and my body all day long. It's like, this takes time. This is a full-time job. When my staff would tell me, or not tell me, but I knew they thought the doctor only works 3 days a week. I always had this inside of me. I'm like, I work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a triple full-time job. And when I'm in the office and I'm in the mouth, the way I sit, the way I open my hips, the way I do everything from where I used to do it, it's constant meditation in processing someone's mouth. Like, that was triple work. So inside of me, I was like, girl, don't worry. You're not like most dentists that work 6 days a week and are trapped into their bodies. You do constant work in different subtle ways. And that's work.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you say, it's day to day, it's moment to moment. We come back to that presence and also to that focus in the future, as you said, because many times we get caught up in the fact that, oh, but I know how to have the results that I want. Yeah, but you are not that version of you anymore. Pass it on. Like, if you keep doing the work, if you keep shifting your energy, if you keep doing the healing and removing all those things that are stuck in the body and in the mind as well, then we are not the same person. So it means that the future gets to be different, but we have to choose it. Choose it.
Yeah. And it has to be, it gets closer and closer, but humans, we need the immediate reinforcement.
Yeah.
And that is not how it necessarily even though everything is happening faster because of all the changes and, like just the solar storms and everything that's in this new era.
Yeah.
But this is the point of being human shape. Like everything is not instant, because we need to learn what it is that blocks exactly what we want. Because sometimes as soon as we think we want something, it gets given to us, it's going to come in bad shape, because we don't even know how we truly want things. We think we know, and then when we put the wording behind it, so we don't even have the right words, and we're not concrete. We start to describe like this is like a novela. No, like short. The universe is little, and we don't know how to give instructions to the universe. So we need the space between the desired outcome results happening and our declarations to really do the inner work and say, is this truly how I want it? Or I take that out, I delete it, I put this color here, I put the shape here. That's why it becomes like it's art. How do you design your environments?
Yes.
So, but it's beautiful, and it doesn't take away that it's a lot of times difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to be known. So for all of your audience, so speaking directly to them, whatever transition or whatever old life they're leaving behind, it requires your true love for your next version, for you to put all your heart into it, taking away the clock. Because the result will happen if you get really, truly like in love with that who you want, like whoever you want to become. But it's like a step at a time, one day at a time, one blink at a time. Just conquer one moment at a time, and that future gets closer and closer and closer. But let go of control, right?
Yeah. And the
Let
how.
God. Let go, let God.
Oh, I love that.
Easy to say.
Yes. Okay. Let go, let God. Beautiful. Well, I guess that would be, let go, let God. That would be, a nice place to end this conversation. But before that, I would like to ask you, what's a pleasure that you enjoy the most?
One more time, stretching.
Stretch.
I stretch all through the night. Every time I wake up, like if I go to the bathroom, I go back. Like if I turn around, I'm always like crack, crack, like finding like that next space where where I get So stretching for me, music, and really closing my eyes and touching my body. Yeah, that space of like a self hug. I give myself the best hugs. Like I wrap myself around, and I'm like I don't even fall. I'm like I fall into myself, And I wanted to give this one line that I hear a lot within myself, that is radical decisions for successful transitions. Sometimes in life we have to make radical decisions, not because where we are is wrong, but because our soul is calling for more. But for that, it takes heart to walk into successful transitions, right? So radical decisions for successful transitions, and especially for your audience that may be going through a space of, I'm not there, but I'm not this. I'm right in between. And that's the space where you create yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Mm. And where can our audience can find you?
Well, the best way is, of course, still all this is in Spanish, my social media, but it's Instagram is Anette Philosophy. So the end of the word philosophy, but with Anette, my name. My name usually in especially French ways, that the way that it is double N, double T, and an E. But mine is the Cuban version, so it's Anette. My mom dropped an N to make it easier for Latins. So Anette Philosophy. And the same way in Spanish, which is all, my brand is Sonrisas del Alma, which is smiles of the soul.org is the website. And that website does have a whole version in English. So that's a beautiful part. So because I have the method there, and there's a lot of information that's there already in the English language, which is, it's in my heart, because I learned English when I was 15, and it was also a becoming. having to become someone that I was not in the middle of my teenage years where you're afraid, embarrassed. So it's close to my heart that we're actually doing this in English when we actually speak in Spanish if we are not in camera. So it's thank you for having me and to put myself out there for people that don't speak my language, but that speak the language of the inner smile.
The language of the inner smile. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Annette. I'm going to put your links where people can find you in the comments, in the show notes. And wow, what a magical and juicy, pleasurable conversation. And yeah, my inner smile it's super expanded at this moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning into Midlife Butterfly. I hope this episode empowered you in some way. Share the love by hitting follow wherever you're listening and leave a review if you feel inspired. I also love to connect with you. Come say hi on Instagram at Midlife Butterfly. I love to know you. Until next time, keep spreading those wings and live in joy, growth, and pleasure.